This small collection was put together with poems that were written over the last 15 years or so. So there's a big range here, and few poems, big range. I'll start with one that I wrote in 1998 after one of our fabled storms in Florida. 3 fig leaves called George. Time tends to bend and stretch, it seems, for lasses living in their dreams. Beyond the moon, where fig leaves fly, time dances to another tune. I'll now proceed to tell you of 3 Georges that I knew. Inside a sky so clear and blue, they hovered close, then sailed on by. George number 1 was elegant, mysterious, and shy, and I so slyly sowed the seed. Lacking in cheer, he did not seem. He acquiesced in kind, and made me feel he'd follow just as long as I would lead. I was no leader, but my need caused me to leave all sense behind. 2 years, a postcard came, despair. Goya's take on the tears of St. Pete. Yours always, then his signature. That always was my ruination. Henceforth, inside my mind we'd meet, fig leaf of my imagination. Years passed. I thought I'd gotten tough. Another George came into view, as if one George were not enough. George number 2 was mild of manner, with blue eyes that melted sand. He sought me out, he flattered me. He was my junior, but so wise. At length, one night, with starry eyes, I came to him, my heart in hand. He shook his head in disbelief, exclaiming in the open air, his boyish voice for all to hear, "How could I be so unaware? This George a fig leaf too? Oh no!" I racked my brain to understand, then grieved, but mused inside my grief. This too will pass, just let him go. Trouble comes in 3s, and number 3 just came my way. Bravado broadcast clear, over 100 hearts to his rough charms had fallen prey. This leaf was rather, well, revealing, swirling his stuff on my TV, which might to some have been appealing. I'll come right out and tell it plain. This George was, well, a hurricane. I know you must be thinking, gee, how flighty can a fig leaf be? At least this George kept me informed of his coordinates, you know, which gave me time to stock up on mosquito netting, H2O, and unlike previous fig leaves, he would merely frighten me. Everything passes, this we know, for creatures living here below, but Georges 1 and 2 and 3, they'll never leave. They're mine, you see. My fancy fig leaves afloat inside the air, drop by when I've got nothing else to do. They'll scare, amuse, or comfort me in weather foul or fair, for no one can lose anything that wasn't really there. Lifeboat. She's a grand old dam to reckon with, majestic, loud, and blind. Titanic's doom deferred upon the sea, while I, a watchful lifeboat, appended to an outer deck, flap gratefully as breezes feed my mind. Her promenade is graced by perfumed people come to play. On deck B, they'll learn languages, do good works on deck A. But oh, the water's rough, and they've been dropping by the score. I hang around in case, that's what I'm for. And in the lone and creaky hours, I'll hear the old girl pray. I've seen it all, I've done it all. What more, my Lord, she'll moan. And I'll mark time awaiting the inevitable fray to salvage the remains and sail away. Though strong of bone, my bark's been captive to the grief inside of me. Still, I'm suspended in a zone where breezes bathe me whole. I care, and so I'll breathe fresh air into her troubled soul. The more I breathe, the more my grief will go. Omelet. If we could just, before we spoke our words, foretell their impact, watching them weave like newly opened, fresh-laid eggs, a billowing tapestry to soothe, delight, and nourish. We lift their wafting warmth onto the plate while sampling some, their golden crunch dispersing goodness on our tongue. And when they failed us, we just uncook them, unscramble them, unwhisk them by intent and force of grace to their etheric state. You'd hear a whoosh, we'd smile. Then, presto, 2 perfect new brown ovals would fill our waiting hands if we could just, before we spoke our words, foretell their impact. Silverscape. I drift in dreams of dusky pink. I roll 'neath moons of white. I glow in drops on dandelions at dawn and crop up at high noon on brows of laborers. I glide on surfaces of wistful wives where longings flutter in the air and sail beyond their sighs to greet the world in tinkling bells. In fields of corn I tease in tongues of playing children whose moods rise up, then fall like mercury. I lurk inside the purple of primroses, or churl in gold of sunflowers, a whirl to keep the dusk at bay. But as I streak with gray their bloom, I'll spot a halo round a cloud, dissolving into dreams at close of day. Prelude to a cocktail. Tonight I'll line my legion of illusions up in ice trays. I'll lay them side by side, 2 trays of 14 cubes, each cube a mask, each mask a face to talk to. Tonight I will not call them out by name, that would not do, but as I think of 1 or 2 of sometime friends in guise of ice, I'll pop them out and plop them in my glass. Then, generously, I'll splash the tepid liquid on their backs, the Coke or rum or vodka, taste and assess, then lightly trip to living room and nestle in my sofa. And here I think I'll sip my drink, and ice will melt, and faces melt, and traces of our places, the blinders of our days now open to the gentle rays, these two, and he and she and I and you at rest at last as one will melt. Amen.